Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this Coaching Summit Day 2. It's so lovely to see so many of you here again. For those of you who have already joined us, another warm welcome. And for those of you who have just joined us today, thank you so much for being here. It's so lovely to see your faces. Just to let you know that all of the sessions allow you to enable captions if you wish, so please go ahead and do that. So now I'm going to introduce our speaker for this afternoon. We have Sara Young with us today, and Sara's session is using metaphors to approach leadership with confidence and creative thinking. Thank you so much, Sara, for being with us today. It's lovely to see you, and I will hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Shelley. It's so lovely to be here. Welcome to all of you in this space. I am Sara and not Sara. I just thought I'd say that at the beginning there because I confuse people with the spelling of my name. Thanks, Shelley. Oh, I'm just going to admit somebody. I think that's sorted. Hopefully you can see my screen. Is that all okay? Great. So I'd like to welcome you all on this kind of momentous day. I'm very conscious of, still I'm admitting a few people there. Maybe I'll leave that be now, Shelley.
I'll take over that for you, Sara.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to have a break, hopefully, today with some of the noise outside and some of the noise in our heads. So my aim is to bring a bit of an oasis of calm to this session, a departure from that noise and the overwhelm and the stress, those cortisol spikes that often kind of squash our creativity and squash that ability sometimes for us to perform at our best. So we've got, what we're going to try and do is sort of get rid of that negative stuff, and we're going to be playful with ideas around positive thinking, aspiration, and confidence. So we've got 40 minutes together to get imaginative and play a little bit with physical intelligence, so the body's chemistry, metaphors and visualization. Sort of tap into your creativity and help fuel possibly your confidence levels. So I'm sure we're all from very different backgrounds here in this space, with different stories and different experiences and different reasons as to how and why we're showing up in this space here today. So a little bit about me to begin with. I think I might just take that slide off for a moment. Let me just remove that for a moment. Let me see. Oh, just gonna hold on one second. Let me just take that off for a moment. Okay, I'm going to close this. Bear with me, everybody. Okay. So a little bit about me. I'm a leadership and performance coach. There are a lot of us out there working with clients, but I bring a certain set of skills and expertise that is all connected to my deep connection with performing arts. So I have a background in education as a subject lead of drama in schools, having taught in schools for 26 years in the UK and in Hong Kong. I am a trained mindfulness and physical intelligence practitioner and trained as an executive coach. I pose to you that whilst we're having people out there fighting for leadership of this country, I pose to you that we are in fact all leaders of some form or another. I wonder what you think about that. And I'm going to be inviting you to just share some of your thoughts and feelings in the chat, which I would love to just get up for a moment so that I can interact with you as ideas come in. So just shelving that one for a moment. This session is going to be touching upon some of the techniques and methods and exercises that I use and sort of elaborate upon within my workshops that I offer within schools and organizations, often focusing on well-being and reconnecting the mind and body. And with those kind of techniques and exercises that I use with coaching clients on a one-to-one, whether it's online or face-to-face. So really you're getting a little bit of a taster of those with me today. So I mentioned a moment ago that I think that in some ways we're all leaders. I posed to you 2 questions. If we're all leaders of some kind or other, what kind of a leader are you? And are you leading your best life? So just challenge you for a moment and ask you to pop your thoughts in the chat. What kind of a leader are you? In what way are you leading on a daily basis? And whilst you're doing that, I'm just going to say 3 things about me personally, just to share a little bit, because human connection is very important to me. And I'm going to hope that we can really boost dopamine and oxytocin levels throughout this session in connecting with others and forming bonds socially. Thank you so much, everyone. Compassionate and brave, a collaborate leader. Amy says, an empathetic leader. I'd like to think that I'm a compassionate and humble leader. Serving and authentic. Thank you, Steve. Some wonderful ideas coming through. So a few things I said I was going to share about myself. I'm a mother of 2, I nearly said 3, 2 teenage boys. I'm an aspiring novelist, and I live in Greater London, but a large part of my heart still lives out in Hong Kong in Southeast Asia, where I lived and taught as an expat for 11 years. So a little bit of sharing there. It's really important to me to get the gauge of the room a little bit. So I'm just checking out. We have Catherine, a collaborative leader. We have Audrey, caring, reliable, and hopefully authentic. It was a wonderful authenticity workshop earlier today. Supportive and collaborative. I'm seeing collaboration as a repetitive theme coming up, and that's something that's really dear and important to me, something that I value and engender in the work I do with people, sort of healthy collaboration. Authentic again. I'm seeing a lot of compassion. Thank you. Great, it's all flooding in. Amazing. Okay, I'm going to give this as an invitation to you. Let's say a collective intention for this space, this moment. To make the collective intention to be to show up today in a non-judgmental way, compassionate, to use your words, everybody, respectful, as we might be divulging sort of important thoughts and feelings and opinions about things that really matter to us. So I wanted to just sort of lay that out at the beginning. And I thought that I would dive straight in with interacting with you physically. So whilst it's kind of a strange setup where we can't see everybody, and I love to see people in a room, so I'm going to be using my imagination here. I'm going to ask you at this moment in time to freeze exactly as you are positioned at this moment. Resist the urge to move a muscle. And I want you to notice exactly how you are physically positioned at this moment in time. Some of you might be holding your breath. Please do breathe. And just as you sit there, I want you to check in with your body status. So check in with whether both feet are on the ground, whether you are in alignment. Check in with what's happened to your chest area and whether it is, as we do get to midday or at least lunchtime, we're starting to cave a little bit. We're starting to get hungry. Sorry to remind you about that. Thank you for joining me during your lunch break, some of you. Just notice what is happening in your body and with your body at this moment right now. Notice what is happening to your breath and whether you're giving yourself room to breathe properly. Notice any areas of tension that might be occurring to you now that you're drawing your attention to different parts of your body. And just notice it for a moment. Get curious. And I will do this work with clients and within workshops where we start to notice things that are automatic to us that may actually not be doing a good service to us whatsoever. And as a physical intelligence practitioner, we work so much with the body and recognizing what's happening in our inner state and how we can shift our chemicals in order to rebalance, breathe deep, and find the confidence that we need to step forward with conviction. So relax. Sorry if you've sat there for quite a long time, all scrunched up. I'd like you to just sort of get yourselves comfortable, whether you're sitting or standing. Get yourself realigned. Check out what's happening with those shoulders. If they've started to creep up towards your ears, just drop them down a little bit. And we're going to get used to listening to our body in order to reconnect mind and body. Okay, thank you. I'm going to move on a little bit here because I think in order to get the gauge again of the room, I'm going to ask you to put this into the chat. So given that this is the middle of your day, that a number of you might already have been in previous workshops, both yesterday on the summit or this morning on the summit. Some of you might have come from meetings. Some of you might have been presenting to rooms full of people. Some of you might have been dealing with clients. I imagine there's a whole gamut of situations. And we're right bang in the middle of your day right now. I would like you to consider rating out of 5, 5 top, 1 bottom, where your stress levels generally are kind of now. Out of 5, stress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just have a little look at what's flooding in. And we've got some low, middle, high, a real spectrum already. It's all over the place. Okay, so I guess we've got quite a few midpoints. We've got a 2, 3, 2, 3, and we've got some high ones there as well for whatever reasons. There'll be all sorts of reasons. And I can see some people are saying that they can feel almost with anticipation and expectation that sort of stress from what's happening and coming up. I can see that too, Chloe. And Daniel, I see that. I hear you. Okay, and I see some low ones. So we've got the whole scope of stress, 1 to 5. Could you now consider, please, rating yourself in terms of your energy levels right here, right now, this moment? And if you haven't had lunch like me, I'm going on fumes right now and coffee. What are your energy levels like? High, down to 1. Right. Just checking out that I'm reading it the right way. Energies. I don't know what you think, Shelley. Do you think they look like they're higher energy than stress levels? Hard to say.
I'm just looking now. I think they're sort of on a par, if I'm honest. There's a mixture there.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, there's a whole host of reasons as to why you've chosen that number at this moment in time. And if I'd have asked you maybe at the very, very beginning, it might have been different. And certainly at the end, I'm hoping it will be different again. Last one. Levels, please, ranking yourself out of 5 for your level of curiosity about the ideas that this workshop is going to be playing with. And you might have some confusion. What is she even talking about? Metaphors? Visualization. Reconnecting mind and body. Physical intelligence. What's your level of curiosity surrounding what I've kind of touched upon for this workshop? Okay, we've got some high levels of curiosity in the room. Oh, I've got an 8 and I've got a 10. Amazing. Thank you, Matthew. Okay, so we're going way above and beyond now. Great, good. That's fired me up and made me want to sort of shoot into the next part. So that's where you're at this moment for stress, energy, and confidence. And we will come back to that. I will really try and remember, because I get a bit giddy and excited with the work. We're going to come back to that at the end of the session to see if it's changed for you. So really, I'd like you to take responsibility for remembering what you wrote and then sort of comparing it at the end of the session. Okay, the next exercise is one that is so important, and it's important for me personally delivering to you. I've already mentioned that I get excited, I get a little bit giddy, and I'm going to bring you into a grounding exercise. This is particularly important for people who, as I work generally with leaders and aspiring leaders who have huge amounts of responsibility and stress upon their shoulders, lots of overwhelm and quite a lot of burnout, sadly. But it's really important for all of us to ground ourselves amidst the noise and the chaos and all those thoughts that hijack us when we're trying to focus on something and eat away at our confidence. I believe that confidence has been impacted significantly with the pandemic, and I feel we carry the residue of the pandemic with us. There's still lots of uncertainty, even on the outcome of today. Let's not go there. And we can feel a little bit insecure, a little bit uncertain, and it can eat away at our confidence. So sometimes we just need to ground ourselves. We need to get into the here and now, rather than worried about what has happened, what that person said, what that person did, what we did that we regret in the past. We need to get out of our headspace being in the future and preoccupied with the worries and the concerns and the distractions of what's coming up or what might come up. And we need to bring ourselves into the present, right here, right now. So this grounding exercise comes straight from mindfulness and from physical intelligence practices. And I use it with clients a lot. So I'm going to invite you to put down your phones, close your eyes or lower your gaze, put your feet firmly on the ground, whether you're sitting or standing. Do get your balance if you're standing. Lower your gaze or close your eyes, that's up to you. But I'm going to ask you to start with 3 mindful breaths, being conscious of our breathing. We try and breathe in and out through our nose if we can. And feel the stillness in your body, in your immediate space, and taking all your attention to the here and now at this moment. And I'm going to do it with you, keeping your eyes closed or your gaze lowered. I'd like you to imagine that there's darkness all around you and that there is a torchlight, like a beam. And in mindfulness, we call it the torchlight of attention. And that torch beam, that light is shining on your feet, flat on the ground. Please don't forget to breathe. And I want you to just notice if random thoughts or not so random thoughts pop into your head. And like a blue sky with clouds across it that are moving in what's quite a gusty day today, I want you to imagine those thoughts are like the clouds that move in and they move away. You notice them coming. You're aware of those thoughts popping into your head, but like the clouds, they move away. The blue sky is there behind them. Taking all your attention to your feet, and notice any sensations that reside there. Tingling, temperature, discomfort, comfort, textures of the ground, what you might be touching, or your feet, you're touching your shoes or socks. Just noticing what is there. Feel that stillness. Any thoughts that pop into your head, notice them, it's okay, but let them go. The torchlight of attention is going to move up to your knees. Imagine that torchlight, that beam of light is actually warm, and it's warmer than the air elsewhere. And imagine that warmth going into your knees. Notice any sensations that reside there. Continue to breathe. Ideas pop into your head. We're not judgmental of ourselves. We notice them, we let go of them. Torchlight's going to move up to the sitting bones if you're sitting. And just notice the weight of your body in the chair. If you're standing, then your hip bones, noticing how square they might be, how aligned they might be or not. Just noticing what is there. Noticing any tension that resides in any of these areas. And remembering to breathe. And if there is any discomfort, try breathing into that area of the body. As physical intelligence practitioners, we're asked to consider, what is that part of the body telling us? If it's uncomfortable, what is it telling us? What does it need? We're not used to listening to that voice often. And then we're going to take the attention, the torchlight of attention, to our left shoulder. Notice if it's crept up anywhere near the ear. Breathing into the left shoulder if you need to, if there's discomfort. And then bouncing that torchlight over to the right shoulder. So you've got that torchlight of attention on your right shoulder. Notice how high up or low down or in the middle it might be. And then taking it to your forehead. And just imagining like a beam of light and warmth, focusing on your forehead and smoothing the skin that is so often knitted, like a knitted brow, as cortisol tries to take over the body so often. And now we're just letting that melt away. Taking 3 mindful breaths to come out of the exercise. And anything that came up for you or anything that you noticed in that exercise for you personally, anything that you got curious about, if you want to pop into the chat. And whilst you're doing that, if you want to, or just sit and enjoy the stillness in your body and your mind and the quiet, whilst you're there, I'm going to remind you of, I think I mentioned it earlier, snow globe. Can't remember if I did now. But often snow globes are like a metaphor that I use in my coaching practice, where often we feel, as people who have so much responsibility or leaders of teams or big projects, presentations, interviews, when you shake that snow globe, you can't see what's inside it. Everything's all pretty mystical, yes, but not great. You can't see it. And hopefully that exercise has helped to kind of ground you. It's cleared the head a little. The body should feel a little bit more relaxed. Let's see what's going on here. So relaxing and mindful. Yeah, Catherine, it's incredible how far into relaxation you can get when you give yourself the opportunity to stop. And that came up in the first workshop today. I noticed there was a poll, and there was the greatest number of people were talking about the need to stop and reflect. And they felt that was one of the biggest things that was stopping them moving on to make progress in their businesses and in their lives. And it really resonated with me. I noticed people who have become aware of things flaring up for them. Oh, thank you, Sue. And knees needed a special attention. Amazing. Well, good noticing, right? It's great. Whilst you're in this kind of settling, I'm just going to share my screen again a moment. I think it might be a good time to share with you just a couple of quotes that really, for me, capture what sort of underpins a lot of my methodology and my work. Creativity is at the core of how I work and who I am, if that's even possible. I love this quote. Brené Brown, I'm a huge fan, and I do pretty much read everything she's ever written, but this really stands out for me. Creativity is the mechanism that allows learning to seep into our being and become practice. We move what we're learning from our heads to our hearts through our hands. And then on the back of that, if you think about that was coming from our heads and coming out through our actions and our behavior, this is now from Claire Dale, working with the Physical Intelligence Institute. Physical intelligence is the active management of our physiology, the ability to detect and strategically influence the balance of chemicals in our bodies and brains to consistently achieve peak performance. I love that. And I've been doing a lot of work with this. And it really works. It's really powerful. Okay, I want to move on because I get a little bit excited and want to stay on subjects, but we are tasting, we're just having tasters of things. So metaphors, we're looking at metaphors and visualization. So I'm about to introduce to you a slide that has 4 cards on it. They're image cards, and they act as metaphors, possibly for you. One will possibly stand out for you. I'm going to ask you, in this, working with this idea of being in the present, here and now, how you're feeling about your current situation, I'm going to ask you to choose one of these cards now. Can I just check that you can see that? Shelley, is that up for everybody?
Not yet, no.
I apologise. Right, let me just get that sorted. So you know what's coming. Here we go. 4 cards, 4 art cards. They're beautiful. Hopefully you can see them now.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. So the question is, which image resonates with you most at this moment in time? Right here, right now. How does it serve as a metaphor to represent your current situation, or how you're thinking or feeling about what is going on with you at this moment, whether that's personally, and you don't need to divulge anything you feel uncomfortable about, or whether it's professionally, it's up to you. And if you could just start jotting ideas down in the chat for me so that we can start to connect with one another. That will boost all of our oxytocin levels in terms of our connecting with each other, forming empathy and understanding and relating to each other's ideas. As we see, we often have common situations. So which one of those? I'm going to give you literally 20 more seconds. And whilst you're doing that, I'm going to have a little look in the chat. Okay, so I can see that you're putting the numbers of the cards down, and I can see some people are also writing, Catherine, I want to walk through the door, but there's a barrier in the way. Thank you. That first image, that's what it kind of represented for you. And Joanna, the doorway, a way forward and blue skies ahead. So some semblance of, or this idea of being on the cusp of something. And you can see on the horizon something bright. I see freedom. Amy talks about the first image representing freedom of some description for your reasons. And new possibilities, Lara, thank you. And then I'm seeing Sandra. Hello, Sandra. The empty side of the scales is talking about opportunity to you. That's really fascinating. Okay, we could carry on looking at those. And obviously with clients, I would be doing a lot of work, sort of digging into this, what it really means to you, what's really important to you right now, and how might this image capture it for you. I'm going to take that off a moment because I want to take you through the next exercise. I'm conscious of time, so let's go into the next exercise for a moment. So I said at the beginning that I do a lot of work around positivity, aspiration, imbuing confidence with clients. I love this idea of helping them step into their light, step onto their stage, and to have a sense of confidence and conviction when they open their mouths to speak, to engage their audiences. So we're going to have a little look at this. It's a visualization exercise. You can turn your cameras off, you can keep them on, it's up to you. But if you could really invest in this, you'll get a lot out of it. Inviting you to close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to imagine that you are walking down a long, dark tunnel, but it's an exciting feeling that is welling up inside of you, because at the end of that tunnel, there is light, and you know that you're going to be walking to a point in your future that is maybe 3 or 5 years down the line. You are going to be visiting your ideal future self. And you're going to walk down this tunnel with that growing excitement building, curiosity as to what is going to be waiting for you. And you walk out of the tunnel into this vast expanse. It is light, it is bright, the air is good. You've got this expanse in front of you. And there in front of you is a scene being played out from your future. Your ideal self, your ideal future. And it might be blurry to begin with, but as these ideas come into your mind, what does your ideal future look like for you? Notice what's happening in the body. Notice what's coming up for you as you're looking at maybe people who feature in your ideal future, a scenario that is something that excites you, that's already giving you a sense of strength, positivity, accomplishment. And you're going to walk around the periphery of this scene, looking in from the outside to begin with, relaxed in as far as nothing is really asked of you at this moment other than to witness your accomplishment. What is happening in your scene? Slowly, these senses of yours are being activated. What can you smell? What can you hear? What can you see? What are you really feeling as you watch this scene in front of you? I'm inviting you now to step into the scene. You are at the center of it. Where are you? What exactly are you doing? What are you seeing? What are you experiencing? Take a curious look around. Where do you feel this in the body? And you're in amazement because this is yours. This is what you have achieved, and this is fantastic. And you're going to go up to somebody, whoever that person is, whoever they might be in that situation in your mind's eye, and you're going to say to them, how did I get here? What did I do to get here? And this person has the wisdom to share with you something of how you got there. Listen carefully. Now you're going to take that on board, make a conscious choice as to what you would like to take from this experience back with you. What part of it are you going to take back with you? You're going to walk back down the tunnel, leaving it behind, but safe in the knowledge that that is your future. That is what you are going to get to. You are capable of achieving that. Moving back through the tunnel, all the way back down, back to the 4th of July, 1:37 on the 4th of July, and opening your eyes. Notice anything that came up for you. And if you're prepared to share, that would be fantastic. Just checking out the chat. Moving from a tough place, but into a fresh, rich, and clear space. Thank you, Stuart. Ray, don't wish for a better wind, wish for the wisdom to set a better sail. I love that. Stepping through to another opportunity, positive experiences. Thank you so much. I'm going to, for a moment, I hate moving quickly on this, but I realize time. I'm going to very briefly give you 4 more cards. So we're going to continue with, I need to share my screen again, don't I? Get better at this, Sarah. 4 more cards, and we're going to spend less time on this bit, but it's very important, if not more important. We're being aspirational. I want you to consider your ideal self and scenario that you just visualized in your mind. Oh, that's the wrong one, right? Sorry, that's the last one. Here we go. Now choose an image that relates to your future self. Which one of these 4 images captures in a suitable, metaphorical way for you what you're aiming for? Because you can go out and get that. It's going to take time, it's going to take steps, but you can get there. And just decide for yourself which one of those cards holds that for you. It captures it for you. And if you want to put in the chat in any shape how or why it does. And whilst you're doing that, I'm starting to do the spinning plates now. Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to just share with you that in terms of physical intelligence, visualization is extraordinarily powerful. Reason being that when we visualize anything in our mind's eye, we're activating the visual cortex part of our brain, which then stimulates dopamine release. If we're then looking at visualizing something that we so want to achieve, each time we close our eyes and we think about it and we practice doing this, we can conjure up the chemicals, if you like, the feelings that went with that original visualization, making it more likely that you're going to achieve that thing that you're striving for. So I just wanted to put that in there as a reason why we did it and how it links to my practice. Growing and reaching out for my goal. Thank you, Alice. I think that's the giraffe. Great. Handing myself my beautiful picture, future. Thank you, Nikki. That's the flowers. I get that. 3, but that one was more difficult. That one was more difficult for me. No one in particular stood out. That's common as well. Thank you. That idea of I can't choose a card because they all mean something. Okay, I'm going to kind of move on a little bit quicker because I'm recognizing that time is of the essence. And I am going to suggest to you that we wouldn't leave it here. We would have a lot more time to dig deeper, explore this further, and look at what really matters to you and what you need to do to get it. So I'm going to hold you a little bit accountable for a moment. You've done that work. That's really important work, but we're not going to just shelve it and leave it there. What, if this is a call to action, what one step could you take that would get you closer to achieving that vision that you had, that scenario at the end of the tunnel? What one thing could you do? That's for you to take away from this session. What one thing could you do? And sometimes it's the smallest step that gives you traction and momentum in the direction that you want to move to or towards. And it is all about dopamine often. So just make that as a little bit of a promise to yourself. If you can do that, that would be great. And I'm just going to go back to finish off with these slides for a moment. Gosh, this time goes quickly. This is crazy. Okay. So takeaways, I'd like you to consider what resonated with you most. Thank you, Shelley, for putting my feedback form. There's a link to my feedback form in the chat. I think it's come up a few times, which is great. It's on these slides as well. Just take a little look at what resonated with you, what really worked for you. And if you could just jot that in the chat, that would be fantastic. Or if you could just save that and say a little bit about it in the feedback form, that would be fantastic. So what really worked for you today that you could take forwards to help you take that one step towards your goal? And finally, if you're curious to experience more about this kind of work, then connect with me to receive any of the following. I'd like to be able to give you your own copy of Image A or Image B if either of those were powerful for you and worked really well, and you want a little reminder of this exercise and what it conjured up for you. A free 30-minute chemistry call. I'm sure you've heard of chemistry calls. A lot of you be very familiar with these, or discovery calls. Chemistry being the operative word with me. For possible one-to-one coaching, I'd love to have a chat with you. More information about my wellbeing workshops that I carry out in schools and in organizations that put all this mindfulness, physical intelligence, and coaching experience into practice. You've got my email address there, LinkedIn, and here's the exclusive offer. Summit Special, highlighted, high vis. There's going to be a free additional 1-hour session for Summit participants, yourselves, whether you're watching this on the recorded version or live. Summit participants who book a package of 6 sessions by the end of July 24. So you essentially get 7 for the price of 6. The feedback link is right there. And I am so sorry, Shelley, that I've gone over. My apologies.
Not at all, not at all.
I'm just going to double check with I don't want to miss the things. If I can have a copy
I just wanted to pop, sorry, and just to say that Lisa has just said, it was just such a lovely message. Super facilitated and powerful reflection time. Took my head and body to a very different place from when I arrived. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. And that's a great reminder. Thank you. Think back to where you were with your stress at the beginning out of 5, your energy and your curiosity about working with me possibly further. Think back and see whether it's changed. What's got higher, what's got lower. And I guess that's where I leave it. I wish I could have interacted a little bit more with you all. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Tony. Lovely to see you on here. Great.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Obviously, we have our Facebook warm-up group, so we can drop all the links from this session in there as well. Obviously, the feedback form is in the chat there if you'd like to grab that one, and we can share that one again, obviously, as well. And just some, fantastic comments in the chat there, Sarah, which obviously we'll pass over to you, but just saying what a fantastic session it's been, the practice of the visualization and using metaphors. Just love this session, and just, lots and lots of thank yous in there. So thank you so much for your time today, and thank you everyone for being here again, as always. Just one more
Thank
from
you.
us of Inga Company, another reminder about our Q&A sessions that are tomorrow, Friday the 5th of July, the 9:30 a.m. Q&A with Zoe about our training to be a coach, and 12:30 with Joe about our CPD courses and motions coaching practitioner training and our foundations of group and team coaching. So thank you so much everyone for being here, and once again thank you to Sarah for a fantastic session, and I look forward to seeing you all on another session soon. Thanks
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Take care.